Hello, welcome back to Fitness Friday with Johnny Tiger on January 7, 2022. I imagine a lot of you looking at me right off the bat, you're thinking, uh, did you forget what episode this is? Like, what's going on? Why are you in full uniform and ceremonial uniform at that? Because what we're going to do today is a serious thing, and I feel that the ceremonial uniform is fitting for what I'm going to show you guys today. You see, today we are going to be swordswomen. We are going to be blade masters. We are going to incorporate swords into our workout. Before we begin, always make sure that you wear gloves when you're working with swords, partly to protect your hand, partly to protect the swords. Remember that the sweat and oil from your hand usually do more damage to your sword than anything else in your environment. So, before working with swords, especially in a fitness exercise kind of way, uh, pull on a pair of gloves. Even if you are using training sword, uh, it's a good idea to wear gloves, if for nothing else, just to protect your hand, protect your palm. Now, some people say, nah, I have pretty tough hands, it's okay. But you know what? After about half an hour of that sword working on your hand, under your finger joints, rubbing and twisting and churning, gradually, what's going to happen is you will feel that, oh, it's kind of hurting this part between my thumb and finger. Oh, it's kind of hurting uh, on the base of the middle finger. Somewhere it's going to start to hurt. And the problem with that is you will start to, even not knowing, unknowingly, you will start to compensate. You will start to favor another side, the other hand. You'll start to avoid rubbing that spot. And it's when you start to do that, that accidents sometimes happen because you're no longer gripping your sword as you're supposed to. Now, I'm not going to go into all the fine details and basic principles on how to hold a sword, how to grab a sword, because our purpose today is actually exercise, it's not battle. Okay? But there's still things that need to be addressed. First, pick a sword. Again, since we are not really doing this as serious battle reenactment or serious specific sword style, you can pretty much pick any style of sword you want. However, there are some things to keep in mind. First, never, never work out using a fully combat ready, sharp edged sword. That's just a no-no, right? That's good. That is good for cutting drill. That is good for live demonstration. But for most of the basic sword art, sword fighting, whatever sword-based martial art, it's highly, highly uh, cautioned against using live blade because anytime accident can happen. Your children might wander past you just as you do that deep squat and sweep. Eh? Your dog may wander past you just as you do a lunge and low sweep. Or sometimes something happen and your sword break and hit yourself, or you drop the sword on your own foot. There's so many reasons why using a live blade is just not recommended. Also, it's pointless. We are using this for exercise routine. We are not going to kill anyone or fight anyone or cut anyone. So, using a live blade is a waste of a live blade sword. Now, not everyone need to get a $200 sword for this workout, for this kind of stuff. In fact, the only reason I'm doing this with this particular sword is because I want to play with this sword. Right? A lot of people ask me, Johnny, you got so many weapons in your training room. Do you know? Are you a master? Do you have mastery of all of them? I said, heck no, I don't. But I basically know how to use all of them, and I enjoy using them for various workout applications. Working out with a sword uh, fulfills a few things. One, have you always asked yourself, have you always said to yourself, I would really like to have a sword, but I'm not training. I don't know how to use the sword. What's the point of spending money on the sword? Well, now you got a reason. Now you can incorporate swords into your workout. Yeah, I'm going to show you guys that today. Second, incorporating a sword into a workout make you pay attention to your body language, to where is it getting sore, where it shouldn't be getting sore. Are your hands at the proper height? Are you getting tired? Are you starting to let your sword droop? Because this happens a lot. When people get tired, the sword go lower and lower and lower. This gives you an indication. This is a good marker, good landmark. Also, it acts as a light uh, to medium weight for you to work with. You don't have to get a dumbbell or barbell or stuff like that. A sword in your hand, you will work up a very good sweat in no time at all. But perhaps the most important reason is while you're working out with the sword in your hand, you're getting used to the feeling of a stick or a sword or a knife in your hand, which means this will indirectly enhance your self-defense training. And now, if you can do a lot of these motions with a sword in your hand during exercise, then when you actually need to spar or do battle or protect yourself with a sword, you're comfortable. This is like your old friend. You use it in your workout every day. It won't feel strange. You won't overswing and overbalance because now you know this like a part of your own body. And so this is a very good reason for incorporating a sword, a blade, a stick, baseball bat, whatever, into your training, just so you get to use them in a non-combative way, in a fun way that will help you in getting fit and will help you in getting used to this thing in your hand. And it fulfills a kind of a geeky thing, geeky fantasy that you can actually get a chance to play with your sword. Always be responsible with your sword, however, even though when it's not sharp, it's still a heavy piece of steel and you got to take care of it. Like I was saying, not everyone needs to get a $200 piece of replica sword. You can also work out with something like this. Uh, this is like 50 bucks. Beautiful craftsmanship, hard wood, and good weight to it. Alright, what I show you today, you can use this as well, uh, or any of those plastic cold steel training sword that you can get on Amazon. They cost about 20 bucks. Nice and heavy, and they have the general shape of a sword. So anything you get, because again, you're not taking this into combat. You're just using this for workout. So you don't need a $1,000 sword that can cut through uh, aluminum or titanium or whatever. That's overkill. No sharp edge, and oh, one more thing. Make sure whatever sword that you pick, it can even be a pair of butterfly style swords like these. These are like 1 pound each, perfect for light to medium weight workout routine. We're going to come back and visit these near the end of the video. But even these, they're not sharp and they're heavy and they feel good in hand. And these are very good alternative. But no matter what sword you pick, make sure it is at least half tang. What do I mean by that? We talked about tang before in talking about knives. Tang is how much of the metal from the blade is inside the hilt. Okay? Full tang means the hilt from the end go all the way to the blade. It's the same piece of metal as the blade. So the blade go all the way through the hilt, the handle. Half tang means the blade at least go halfway. And you want something at least half tang. Uh, if you are going to do anything that require impact, full tang, nothing less. Because I kid you not, it's really dangerous when you swing your sword, even in fitness, and it's some lousy rat tail tang. What's a rat tail tang? That's when the blade, when it going to the hilt, it's just skinny. It's a skinny piece of metal, like a screw going into the hilt. That's a rat tail tang. Those are sucky, pointed, useless things. Just leave them hanging on the wall. That's all they're good for. Or a stub tang, which means the blade, only go into the first 2 or 3 inch of the hilt. Again, pieces of crap, leave them on the wall. Don't mess around with them. They'll kill you faster than they'll kill your enemy. They'll kill you when you're not even in battle. So when you show up to a sword for training, for uh, reenactment, for exercise, always look for the information on what kind of tank this thing is. Uh, Now, if you're looking for something that you don't actually have to hit anything with, then it doesn't really matter. But if you're going to swing it, make sure it is full tank or at least half tank. This is because when you swing something, when you swing a sword or a baseball bat, at the end of your swing, there's a lot of force pulling the blade to the side. So if this is just a stub tang or rat tail tang with not a lot of structural support, this will actually detach and fly either away from you and break the window, or it will spin back at you and clunk you on the side of the head. And that actually happened to me before, so that's why I know. Okay, so after you pick a sword, after you get your glove, we're getting ready to do this thing. When it comes to swordsmanship training, depending on the discipline, the style you are doing, there are several things you do. We'll do a quick run through of them, even though we are really only interested in one aspect of swordsmanship today. When you get into swordsmanship, the one, of course, there's taking care of your sword, how to oil it, how to grease it, how to wipe it down, and all that stuff. So there's a maintenance. And then there's the meditation and visualization. This is two things, although people sometimes put them in the same category. What is meditation? Meditation, well, the way I learn it is you just stand, either with a sword through your belt on your hip or keep it in the sheath, wearing the sword. Keep your hand on it. Focus on your breathing, listening to, if you choose to have background music, I like flute music with my sword training, and just relax. Feel the cold metal, the weight of the sword, either on your belt or sometimes I will do my meditation with a sword in my hand, but in a relaxed, uh, at ease position, either point towards the ground or held in two hands, resting the pommel against my belly. I just stand, relax, getting used to the weight, the balance, feel the sword, really feel the sword, feel the music, feel the ground under your feet. This is there's a lot more to it, but I don't want to dwell too much on it today. This is meditation. Visualization. Visualization is a little bit more active, and I do visualization a lot. In some of my videos on the main Johnny Tiger channel, some of you have seen me going through my sword fighting stuff on the beach at Bowen Island. Those are my visualization. The visualization is um, you actually get the sword in your hand and you go from standing still. Now I'm visualizing what if a person suddenly appear and the sword they are holding is stabbing right toward my chest. How do I deflect it? So there's no right or wrong. This is all free form stuff. Whatever discipline you do, you might want to incorporate your technique. So I'm standing here at ease. I'm visualizing a sword coming at me. While I visualize the sword coming at my chest, I raise the sword hilt first because then I can catch the incoming blade as my sword is rising, and then I step to the right and cut with my sword. So parry, cut. Swordsmanship, always parry and cut. Parry and cut. You don't just parry, parry, parry. You'll eventually get hurt. You'll run out of energy. Then I stay still at the end of my swing. Now I visualize a person sweeping the blade across my body horizontally, bring the sword down, block, step, step, lunge. Now a person is coming up behind me, swinging the sword at my head. I drop down to one knee, clearing the blade, sweep the sword back, rising to my feet. Now there's an opponent coming at me from the left, doing an overhead two-handed cut. Sweep the sword up, sloping it, guide the blade past my blade, and cut back. Okay, so this is a visualized one-person combat. Your shadow boxing, your shadow fencing. Okay, this is a lot of fun, especially when you have good environment and good imagination, and this will allow you to get a bit of a workout in while really get you used to the feel of your sword. So that's visualization. Next, there's forms. Forms is less on visualization. It's a little bit like the same thing, but when we work forms, we repeat the same pattern over and over again, like the kata in karate. I sweep here, I cut here, I lunge. I sweep here, I cut here, I lunge. I sweep here, I cut here, I lunge. Okay? You repeat that motion until it's drilled into your muscle memory. These are forms, and you have to do a lot of that when you do swordsmanship. Next is what we're doing today, exercise. So I will skip past that because we are going to devote more time on this today. After exercise, there's cutting. Now, cutting is where you actually have to exchange this for a live blade, for a sharp blade. Because now that this is so comfortable in your hand, you know your movement, you know what works. It's time to see if you can actually cut. And this is harder than a lot of people realize. A lot of times people think they can cut, but happens when they hit the target with the sword? It just knocks the target away like a baseball bat. Because to actually do a cut, you don't just swing your sword at the target. You have to swing and slice. Okay, there's an arc to it, and there's a swing and slice. There's swing and push. This is called push cut. So when you swing, you're driving in. Okay? And also when you're cutting a target, especially something that's suspending from the ceiling, or a milk jug full of water, you have to have your blade traveling at a certain velocity, a certain speed. Otherwise, it doesn't matter how sharp your blade is, it's not going to cut through. It's just going to knock the thing aside. And so there's a lot to cutting. Uh, well, we might get to that one day. And then, of course, you're sparring. When sparring, in the very beginning, for a long, long time, you're using very light sword, like almost like sticks. And then you graduate to something that actually have weight, like a candle, uh, like a bokken in uh, Japanese styles, or one of these, like this one in my hand, that it's sufficiently heavy, like a real sword, but it it's rounded off in the end. So even if I stab someone with this, it's not going to kill them. Now, I say it's not going to kill them, but understand this. If you take this, basically a 3 pound piece of steel, and hit someone across the face with it, it's still going to kill the person, right? So be responsible when you do that. And this is why in sparring you start with light material, softer material, because in the beginning people don't have a lot of control. Sometimes they hit each other on the wrist really hard. If you hit someone on the wrist really hard with this is breaking bone. There's no question about it, right? So that is the basics of swordsmanship and learning how to use the sword and all that stuff. And today we are going to focus on how to incorporate your sword in the exercise aspect. There's not a lot to it. You just have to pay attention to what you're doing with your arms and hands. So let's get started. When I a lot of time, especially this last few years, when we've been doing a lot of virtual workout on Zoom, people ask me, Johnny, you always have a big sword in your hand when you're working out at home. Like, are you just like showing off for the camera or what? The answer is no. I'm not doing this for show off. Uh, what I'm doing is, since I'm going to be home anyway, I might as well use all the tools I have. So I'm incorporating the sword to make my workout harder. Okay, that's why it's there. So we're going to start with lunges. Normally, when you do lunges, you don't think a lot about your hand. But this time, when I lunge, I'm going to lunge with the sword. So the sword and the arm will be straight out in front of me. Okay? So I'm going to make sure I don't hit the camera. When we take a lunge, I'm lunging out straight with the sword, coming back, lunging out straight with the sword, coming back, lunging out straight with the sword, coming back, lunging out straight with the sword, coming back. Right? Side lunge. When I do a side lunge, I will, uh, when I lunge to the right, I'll actually stab to the left. And then when I step back, I will sweep the blade across in front of me. Okay? So lunge to the right, stab left, sweep forward, lunge to the left, stab right, sweep forward. Lunge to the right, stab left, sweep forward. Lunge left, stab right, sweep forward. Okay? So those are ways to incorporate your sword into your lunges, into your, let's say you want to do squat. Usually, again, you don't pay a lot of attention to your hand when you're squatting. But what if we have a sword in our hand, and every time we squat, we will sweep the blade down and up, basically a big circle in front of you with your arms and the blade. Squat, 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 draw a circle with the blade, squat, draw a circle with the blade, squat, draw a circle with the blade the other way, squat, draw a circle with the blade the other way. I'm keeping my arm almost totally straight in front of me when I do this. Let me switch sides so you guys can see. Squat, circle, squat, circle, squat, circle, squat, circle. Okay? A lot of the time, you'll see me even when I'm doing basic kicking and stuff like that in exercise. Let's say we're going to do side kick. Okay, here's the drill. We're going to do a back lunge, and then when the foot come back, we're going to bring a high knee and a side kick, all same leg. So it's going to look like I'm going to do a back lunge with my right, high knee with my right, and side kick with my right before putting my foot down. Okay, so in this case, what do we do with the sword? Well, if you have balance issue, you can actually use the sword for balance. Okay, watch this. When I do a back lunge, I put the sword point to the ground, and then I do a high knee. My knee touches the hilt, the pommel of the sword, while the sword point is still on the ground. This is actually helping me balance. And then I side kick and down. Okay, so this is using the sword as a balancing tool. If balancing is not a problem, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the sword properly, two-handed grip, one-handed grip, depending on your style of sword. When I back lunge, I stab forward, I high knee, bring the sword to my face, side kick, sweep the sword out to the side. Okay, so there's three motion with three motion. Back lunge with a stab, high knee, sword raised, side kick, cut to the side. Okay, you can that cut to the side. You can use one hand or both hands. I like to use one hand, but this sword is a little bit heavy, so I have to be careful. I don't hyperextend myself. Okay, so again, back lunge, step forward, raising the sword with a high knee, and cut to the side with the side kick. Right? I can go on and on all day, but I think most of you get the idea that all it is you're incorporating a cut, a stab, a lunge, a block, whatever you're doing with your sword, with your movement. Okay? We can even incorporate this uh, into our, let's say, sit-ups. Okay? When I lay down, when I'm laying down to do my crunches, I'm going to hold the sword straight up toward the ceiling. So like I'm at the top of a bench press. So I'm laying on my back, sword in my hand, pointing at the ceiling. When I do my sit-ups, I'm going to lift it towards the ceiling. So I'm not going to let the sword swing back and forth. The sword should be going up and down, stabbing that ceiling on the way up, coming back down. Okay, so there should be very little back and forth motion. Of course, with a sword, you can also do simple things like just get a wide stance and work your figure eight. Right, the sword, figure eight. Cut, 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 cut. Watch if your arms are drooping, okay, because they shouldn't droop. Cut, 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 cut. And make sure that your shoulder stay nice and relaxed. And a lot of people, when they do this, they tend to raise their shoulder up higher and higher, and that's when you get tired. Right? Another way to incorporate your sword into your workout, especially a long sword like this, I can use it as a stepping post. Okay? So this is what I mean. I have a sword point down on the floor in front of me, and my goal is to get my leg over it, and then the other leg over it, and then the other leg over it. Okay? We've I've shown this before by using the back of a chair, but you can do that with a sword as well. Okay? And some people say, what about push-ups? Can you do something with push-ups? Yes, I can. Okay? Let's say I put the sword on the floor And I start my push-up with my right hand around the sword hilt, left hand on the floor. I do one push-up, and I pass the sword from right hand to left hand. Push up, pass the sword, left hand to right hand. Push up, pass the sword, right hand to left hand. Do a push up. Okay? Be creative. There's a lot you can do with this. Uh, there's so many things that you can incorporate the blade into your workout with that you'll have a lot of fun playing with this. Okay? Even for endurance, uh, holding kind of exercise. Okay? For example, I'm going to take a nice wide stand, hold the sword straight out in front of me, arms straight, and I'm just going to pulse the sword's tip up and down. Use my shoulder only. Or I'm going to sweep the blade left to right. While I'm sweeping the blade left to right, I'm squatting slowly, 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 slowly down. And I stand slowly, 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 slowly up while sweeping the blade left to right. Okay? So that's using a long sword. I promised I was going to talk about the butterfly sword, the short sword. Okay? The short sword are good for you to do the lightweight exercises. With one short sword in each hand, these are 1 pound each, about maybe 1.5 pound. Okay, we can do punches. When you do punches with these, you want to make sure you minimize the blade wobbling back and forth, back and forth. Okay, so the blade should be like they're stabbing, straight in, straight out, straight in, straight out. Or if the blade is facing up, they should be moving back and forth with very little wobble in the tip. Right? Train your wrist to counterbalance the blade. Right? We can do windmill with this in our hand. We can do airplane, bending over the waist, spreading to the side. Spread your arm to the side. Up, 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 up. Eh? Bend your waist, bend at the waist, lean forward, and reach up with the swords. Reach up, reach up, reach up, reach up. Right? Two swords together, figure eight. Cut, 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 cut. Both swords in your hand. Don't lose them. Bend over. Put your knuckle to the ground. Walk out. Do a push-up, still holding onto the sword. Walk back and stand up. Okay? All these are exercises we have seen before on Fitness Friday. But the moment you add these swords to your workout, you'll find that you just discover something new, tiring, and really lots and lots of fun. Like I said, you don't need a $200 sword, $200 sword like what I got here. This is an anniversary gift Kitten gave to me uh, last year, and that's why I want to showcase this in this video. A $20, $30 training sword will do just as well. Well, maybe not just as well because this is very well balanced and very heavy, so you feel good in the hand. But yeah, if you just start to incorporate swords into your workout routine, then a $20, $30 cold steel training model will do fine. I hope that this gives you guys something new to play with, and uh, let me know if you guys try these and go get a sword. I would be interested to know what you guys got and how you guys incorporate them into your workout. Thank you for checking out today's Fitness Friday. We will be back again tomorrow for Survival Saturday. For now, be safe and make sure you're responsible with your training swords.